Cyanide poisoning will be discussed over here. It's basically quite a common kind of poisoning and a toxicological substance that is present in bitter almonds, as well as in the apricot seeds. So, what is the active ingredient that is basically causing the poisonous or the harmful effects on the human body? It's the amygdalin that is present in the bitter almonds, as well as in the apricots, that is causing all these deleterious effects on the human body. So, the metabolism of the amygdalin will be discussed over here, and then we'll come to know why is it harmful for the human body, and what are the sources for this cyanide poisoning as well. So the common sources can be the even the household sources, or the gas leakages can also be one of the causes for the cyanide poisoning, as well as the salt intake, if it's some salt of a potassium source, or even with the sodium, these cyanides can cause some toxicological effects on the human body. So the autopsy findings in the cyanide poisoning are quite significant, and it's sometimes quite evident just by looking at the body. The hypostasis is of cherry red discoloration in cases of cyanide poisoning. This hypostasis is usually of light pink color in a normal dead body, but if cyanide poisoning is being suspected, it's usually of a dark cherry red discoloration. Even the tissues on internal examination of the stomach rugae and all the other organs are also of cherry red discoloration or dark red discoloration. Then we have the toxicological analysis. If we are suspecting the cyanide poisoning, what are the samples that have to be sent to the chemical pathologist? They are discussed over here in this section. To give the overview, what is basically the absorption? It can be through the lungs, it can be through the skin or the GI tract. That is through the ingestion. Ingestion of course, it can be of some salts, or it can be bitter almonds can be one of the sources, as well as the apricot seeds. Then we have the distribution. So the distribution can be through the blood and through the lymph as well. The storage is in the connective tissues, and the excretion is through the kidneys, the GI structures, and the lungs. Then we have the metabolism. So it is metabolized in the liver as well as in the kidneys. When we are dealing with the toxicology, it's basically a branch of forensic medicine and is a very vast subject. Most of it is concerned with the nature, the occurrence, the sources, the symptomatology that is observed in a certain kind of poisoning, and how are you going to diagnose what kind of poisoning we are dealing with. Then the biochemistry, what are the chemical reactions that are taking place at the cellular level? They are also discussed in this toxicology. And then the mode of action and the treatment of a wide range of poisonous substances. So all of this is discussed in toxicology. We are dealing with basically the autopsy appearances of most poisons. So as a forensic practitioner and as a practicing toxicologist, it's very important that you know what are the findings you will get when you look at a certain poisoning case. What will be the findings in a dead body? So that are being discussed over here in this toxicology. The subject of toxicology is relating to all of these symptoms. An overview and the non-specific symptoms are also being discussed over here in this subject. Then the futile to offer repetitive catalog. So it's basically a repetitive procedure. And as you go along and you carry out different autopsy, you come to know that there are different appearances even to the same kind of poisoning. So this repetitive catalog is being made by a certain toxicologist, and then he basically forms his research over that, and all of this is discussed in the subject of toxicology. In this section, we are focusing on the cyanide poisoning. So the cyanide poisoning should be suspected if these indicators are present. This diagram is quite comprehensive. If there is an altered mental status, such as confusion or disorientation, soot around the mouth or the nose, and the exposure to fire or smoke in an enclosed area. So these are all the signs and symptoms that are observed in cases of the cyanide poisoning. Cyanide is a relatively common poison, both in the suicide, in the accidental cases cases, and occasionally it can be of the homicidal origin. The acute cyanide poisoning is autopsy diagnosis is quite rarely, sometimes it is endowed, and cyanide is usually sometimes self-administered because you should keep in your mind that it is also known as the ideal suicidal drug because the fatal period is quite short, and so it is also known as the ideal suicidal drug because it is quite short in the fatal period. So it is sometimes self-administered, and the toxicological analysis are sometimes quite difficult in this case. The destruction and the synthesis of the cyanide in the body is also quite significant and is stored in the blood samples. So depending upon the concentration of the cyanide, we basically add some preservatives such as sodium fluoride is sometimes added, and if the cyanide poisoning is of a higher concentration, then the sodium fluoride concentrations are dependent upon that. The causes are dependent upon sodium or potassium salt intake. So it can be one of the causes of the sodium cyanide poisoning. And then we can have accidental or industrial causes as well as free gas from the commercial process. So it can be one of the causes. Seeds of the fruits, for example, apricots, have amygdalin. As I was already mentioning this product, it's basically amygdalin is the main poisonous or the harmful substance. So after metabolism, it is the release of the amygdalin that is causing the harmful effects on the human body. The hydrolysis of the amygdalin releases the hydrocyanic acid, and that is basically causing this cyanide poisoning over here. So homicidal poisoning is quite rare in these cases. Now the autopsy findings that are seen in these cases are the moderately corrosive alkaline in nature. So it's basically the local tissues are more damaged in cases of cyanide poisoning. For example, if it is taken by mouth, we will observe changes around the mouth. There will be a brownish discoloration, and there is a brick red hypostasis that is observed in these cases of cyanide poisoning. Dark pink or even bright red skin color is being observed over here. Marked dark cyanotic hypostasis. So the hypostasis is being emphasized as we go along, and the black vomiting around the lips. So it can be of a brownish discoloration as well as the color can be dark as black. Bitter cyanide smell. So the main features are the color of the frothing, the color of the hypostasis, as well as the bitter almond smell. These are the characteristic features of the cyanide poisoning. The internal changes that are being observed over here, it prevents the oxygen uptake and combines directly with hemoglobin. The bright red discoloration to the tissues is given by this change, and the stomach lining is damaged in a lot of cases. It is streaked with a red strias. The stomach is observed like that, and petechial hemorrhages are also observed in such cases. Damage to the esophagus or regurgitation is also observed. There are no specific changes in other organs. Toxicological analysis depends upon the blood samples will be taken, the stomach contents will be taken, urine as well as the vomitus, if available, has to be sent to the chemical pathologist. Avoiding spurious formation of cyanide in the stored samples, we basically sample with a low cyanide content is stored at -4 degrees centigrade, and a sample with a high cyanide content is stored at -20 degrees centigrade. So these are basically the storage temperatures that have to be remembered. Now, sodium fluoride is a preservative that minimizes the post-mortem instability of cyanide, and bacteriological activity is also controlled through this preservative. The post-mortem redistribution is one factor that basically emphasizes the use of sodium fluoride, and death by oral ingestion is quite common because we'll notice the blackish discoloration around the mouth. The amount found in the analysis, it depends upon the amount taken. So if it is more of a quantity, then we'll basically get more analytical product in the samples. And the time between the distribution, between the administration and the death is also important. So if the time period is quite less, we won't have that much of that analytical substance at our hand. Spleen is a highlight over here and always has the highest concentration of the cyanide poisoning. So these sections have to be sent to the chemical pathologist for further analysis. So in this section, basically, we dealt with the cyanide poisoning and how are we going to send the chemical samples to the chemical pathologist for further assays. That is the end of this section. Thank you for watching Scaria.com.